Rockies podcast brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code DNVR, you make your first deposit and you get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code DNVR only on DraftKings Sportsbook. I am Patrick Lyons.
And I am Suzie Hunter. Patrick, what a series for the Rockies and against the Cardinals of all teams.
It was fantastic. A 7-0 Cardinals team who had just swept the first place New York Yankees. Nolan Arenado coming back to town. Rockies whimpering after losing 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, losing 4 out of 5 to the Padres, and yet they come out victorious with all kinds of wonderful storylines today. Most of them center around Nolan Arenado, but most of which, if you would have said those things, people go, well, that's not believable that those things would line up and happen that way.
But it did. But yeah, just in terms of scoring this series, it was popping at Coors. It was very Coors Field. 48 runs in this series.
That's a lot.
That's so many.
That's a lot. Yeah, I think 53 is the most that we've had this season. It was against the Royals, which I thought was pre-pandemic, but it turns out it was only May.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Back when we were living in the hot start.
That's true. Yeah.
It was a different time.
I think the Royals scored something like 31 runs, and then the next day their hitting coach got fired because they only scored 31 runs.
You know what? They never
took
batting practice that whole time they were in town, and I'll never forget that.
Great point. I did ask Rockies PR, 70 is the most for a 3-game series the Rockies have ever played in back in 2002.
Against the Yankees?
Against the Yankees. That's right.
Yeah.
So you were following from afar.
It was before I was born, but...
Yeah, love that bit. So 8-5 win. I mean, there's a lot of good news, and even when we talk about Wednesday's loss, again there's some good nuggets there for us to chew on, very much so. But on Thursday, 8-5 win. Germán Marquez gives up a leadoff double to a player that here I'm gonna rope you in early right away. Are you ready? I'm roping you in. He's not ready for it. You hear? Would you ever eat a Lars Nootbaar? Yes or no? Would you eat a Lars Nootbaar?
Yes, I don't know what it is, but I'll eat it. I'll try anything once.
Okay, well, Lars Nootbaar is an outfielder for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And that's disgusting.
My answer doesn't change. I'll try everything once.
What a team player here.
Okay, Artie Hammer.
Oh, God. We're going to get into that documentary. When the offseason comes up, we can have a viewing party. We'll see.
You know what? Well, now that it's relevant.
It's too early to get sidetracked here. But Lars Nootbaar had 2 triples on Wednesday, leads the game off for the Cardinals with a double. And you go, uh-oh. Marquez ends up getting 2 strikeouts, gets out of that jam. Quality start for him, and you really like what he's been putting together so far in the second half.
Oh, for sure.
6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, and a home run to Nolan Gorman.
The other it was a good week for Nolans.
It pretty much
was. The Nolan community was really thriving in Colorado for the most part.
The bullpen on Thursday was spotty at best. And actually, it was really only one guy. It was Alex Collier. Are you concerned with him? He was the bridge to Bard, right? He was the 8th inning guy. He was getting to be shut down.
The bridge to Bard, that's a good way to put him. But in his past couple of appearances, not so good.
No, I think he's given up 2 or more earned runs in his last 3 outings, seen his ERA in general over the last few outings ballooned by a full run. So he's been struggling, and so that's where the game got interesting. We'll break down the details here in a second, but he struggled. Carlos Estevez pitched really well in a jam. I actually talked to him after the game about a save situation versus that, and he said, it was kind of similar. It wasn't really any worse. What was most difficult for him was he had to get ready really quickly, right? Colome, I think he walked a batter. Then he gave up the back-to-back home runs to Goldschmidt. Then Arenado, his second of the series, second in back-to-back games. And
so many back-to-back home runs in this game.
There were 2.
There were 2 back-to-back sets.
First time this season for the Rockies that there have been a pair of back-to-back home run sets that have been coupled together. Doubly.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That was poetry.
But Estevez, he said he got about 3 to 4 pitches in the bullpen, had to go out there immediately. He slammed the door. That was incredible. Gilbreth did it in the top of the 7th, right when the Rockies were surging, in the bottom of the 7th, and then Bard made it really, really interesting. What do you want to talk about first? That ninth with Bard or the big 6-run 7th inning for the Rockies?
Well, you know what? Since we've started talking about pitching, let's talk about Bard in the 9th inning.
Okay.
Because he was making me very nervous. My blood pressure was through the roof.
Bard pressure.
It all turned out right. But yeah, in that 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. But he did get 1 strikeout, and it ended the game. And it was Nolan Arenado, and he was looking.
Every day of the series, every game had a little nugget, and yes,
drama.
So, exactly.
Drama.
It was great, and we almost didn't have it because he was DHing. Mm-hmm. The only drama we had was a couple really good plays by Brendan Donovan at third base, and you go, "Whoa, a great Nolan!" Oh, that wasn't Nolan.
I literally thought it was Nolan at one point.
I did too.
How could you not?
Yeah, great defense by Donovan, but he comes up in that spot as the go-ahead run for the Cardinals in an 8-6 game there. So that was so wild. Gets him looking. Mm-hmm. That was something.
Also, another moment, another something. Yadier Molina, took a moment to appreciate his last at bat at Coors Field. And then when he flung the bat right at Bard, probably by accident, but it moved.
Well, 2 of the first 3 pitches were a little high and tight for Molina.
Oh, do you think it might have been on purpose?
A little bit.
You think it was a little bit?
Oops, accidentally threw the bat at you after you threw 2 pitches at my head. But I've almost never seen a player take in a moment like that. Other than, last year Nolan gets a standing ovation. It's very clear that everyone's pointed at the person. Mm-hmm. And even sometimes I've never had a moment like that. But you're like, okay, I still have it at bat to prepare for. That's really cool, but I can't soak it up yet, right? Because I have a job to do. This was soaking. This was before he stepped in, looked around. Wasn't looking around like lovingly. It was just, I'm just going to enjoy this thing, whatever it is. I'm not a huge Coors guy, I think they may have struggled to put some stats on the back of his placard. Pujols, it was quite easy.
Yeah.
He made his debut at Coors Field. First hit there. But for Molina, he just soaked it up. And then Bard said, hey, wake up. We got a 9th inning to finish. Tosses the bat. And so that was spicy. I like that.
It was spicy.
To use
spicy
a term.
Spicy is the word of the day.
Well, we were talking as we were getting ready for Bud that was a word that Nolan liked to use a lot. Spicy. Mm-hmm. He would say, you go back to that series, I think it was 2018, against the Cubs. Chris Bryant got hit in the helmet by a pitch. Hamels came up and in at Arenado, and he said, if we see those guys in the postseason, could get a little bit spicy.
Spicy.
Yeah, that was something. But the 7th inning was spicy. 6 runs. It started off a lot like I believe it was the 2nd inning, where the bottom of the Rockies lineup, first 2 guys ended up walking. They scored. Same thing happened in the 6th inning. First 2 guys walked and ended up scoring. They brought in Genesis Cabrera, the lefty, to face Charlie Blackmon, and yet Charlie Blackmon doesn't subscribe to a lot of things. One of those things is to the left-on-left advantage for pitchers. He hits left-handed pitching. He just does. He doesn't subscribe to using a razor either. Those are 2 of the things he doesn't subscribe to the most.
I didn't know if that was a transition into a read or not.
No, but we'll have to talk to the Parker to see if we can, do something with Harry's or...
I think it's Manscaped.
Manscaped, sure. But if we're going in the razor game, Harry's would be the one. Speaking of Harry's, Bud Black, Harry Ralston Black, had some interesting things to say after the game. Obviously, let us know about some of the injuries. It was a very injury-plagued couple of games. I want to say weekend. Anytime there's just 3 games, it feels like a weekend. But yeah, a lot of guys were banged up. We'll get to that in just a second. Okay. But I was a little concerned. I mean, the bench was getting pretty thin there late.
Bench is thinning out a little bit. Are we gonna talk about Daza and the stories he told us about his outfield experience today?
I think that's a good segue because the big news. I want to talk more about it.
Yeah.
But the bench is thin. It's about to get a little thicker, I think.
Yeah.
CK, not CC.
Yes.
But according to sources...
Good save, thank you.
According to sources, with Jonathan Daza looking like he's going to be headed to the IL, Winton Bernard is coming to the Colorado Rockies, folks. Yes.
Curry Boy Summer coming to Colorado. Yes, this absolutely warrants air horns. Yeah, here, let's let him rip.
Two-time guest.
Yes, two-time guest on the show. We just had him on like last week, the week before.
It was very recently.
Yeah.
And if you want the whole biography of him,
yeah,
longer conversation during the offseason, 45 minutes. It's a great story. It's Josh Fuentes-esque. It might even be better. Like, I mean, not to be biased, I wrote the first kind of official Josh Fuentes story. Like, hey, this guy's a thing down in AAA. He's doing some interesting stuff, to say the least.
Stop making these guys about you.
I have to. They're my guy. Like, I keep an eye on the farm. Look, we're going to probably very soon, and they don't know it, the Blake Street Banner guys, got to have them on because they do an amazing job covering the minors.
They do.
Everyone's their guy, but that's because they're so invested in them. They dig through the behind-the-scenes stuff, their stats, where they've been throughout their career. Wynton Bernard, 10 seasons in the minors, folks, 31 years old, having his best season yet, 1 year in independent ball, but we're getting ahead of ourselves because the reason he's getting called up, unfortunately, you never want it to be during one of these cases, is Jonathan Daza made a dazzling catch. Daza makes some dazzling catches.
He is out there dazzling, but he really gave us his all today.
He did.
He gave us a little too much because he popped his shoulder out of the socket.
Wow.
He popped his shoulder out and apparently popped it on back in himself. And it did not sound pleasant. But he was in good spirits, but especially because the Rockies got the win.
Yeah, he wanted he said, I don't feel any pain because we're winning. Well, what happens if you would have lost? He said, I would have felt really, really bad.
Yeah.
And so, wanted to make sure he supported Marquez. Got him out a little bit of a jam there. I think there was, Nootbaar was still on second base at that point in the first inning. Was escorted out, through the Rockies bullpen.
Yeah, very unusual.
So that almost made it a little bit scary. But he was able to obviously walk off on the field. As you said, popped it back into place. It's the second time it happened. Rather randomly, I was watching a lot of Yard Goats game back in 2015 and was watching the game in which it happened to him.
Too early.
Yeah.
Not 2015.
Oh, 2018. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said 15?
You said 15. I'm like, no, Yard Goats weren't born yet.
2018.
Yeah.
And because I talked to him just a couple weeks prior to that in a visit back east. And nice kid, slid into home plate, and that was it. Shoulder dislocated. He popped it back in, but his season was done for at that point. Younger guy, you probably want to be a little bit more cautious. He's a little older now. Maybe the Rockies won't necessarily need to do that. Don't need to rush him back either. So you're in somewhat of a win-win situation there. We're really going to have to wait and see what happens, but definitely won't be available here in the near future for at least the next week. We'll see what happens. But it did make me think with him going through the bullpen and going through the bowels, if you will, of Coors Field, which is kind of how we get to the clubhouse and how we enter the stadium. It did make me think of some interesting interactions between people that are, they're loading up their cotton candy, whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden you're like, why is one of the players here? Like, did I just see Jonathan Daza? Yeah, really. It's like, oh man, I told them like the pink ones sell better on the day games, blue on night. Is that Daza? Like what the heck? So that must have been an interesting experience. And the clacking of the cleats on the concrete down there.
Those aren't easy to walk on concrete with.
No, that must have been a very strange occurrence. What isn't strange and what isn't, hard to listen to is all the great shows that we've got on the DNVR Sports channel, on YouTube, DNVR Sports 2.0, sometimes, depending on whether or not we've been behaving or misbehaving.
We're on our burner account right now.
I tell you what, I'm so excited.
I'm trying to get sued on the burner account.
I am so excited tonight when I get home to watch the Broncos show. They just got wrapped up.
Yes.
They were going for like over an hour plus. I mean, it's about to be their time of the season. It almost is already in a sense, but they've got such amazing coverage right now over at the DNVR.com. Only 50 cents for your first month. Nuggets and Avs, they're starting to heat up their content as well, but Broncos are really going wild. And when you're a member, you actually get a discount to any of our tailgates. You get a member-sized beer once the bar is back up and running here in just a few weeks. But at the tailgates, Saturday, first one against the Cowboys. Mini sliders. Well, maybe not mini. And that's redundant.
That's
kind of redundant.
Yeah, that's absolutely redundant.
Super small mini sliders bites.
Tiny
that's a bite. But yeah, you get a price break on those too when you're a member. So make sure you check out the DNVR.com. And if you want an annual membership, it's actually a free shirt from DNVRlocker.com. Look, if you are not sure what to get at your local marijuana dispensary, guess what? Walk into any of 11 Denver metro area Lightshade locations because they're experts. They're bud tenders, as they are known.
I love that term.
They're so knowledgeable. They know their stuff. And that's the thing is, for me, look, I am a coffee connoisseur, right? Not a cannabis connoisseur. But when I go to a new coffee shop or even one that I've been to, I ask and say, what's good? What do you like? Right? To freshen some things up. You got to do that also when you go to Lightshade Dispensary so they can help you out. Mention code DNVR so they can give you 25% off. Whether you're a member or just a podcast listener, mention code DNVR at any of Lightshade's 11 Denver metro area locations. Also mention code Colorado10 when you go to evoca.tv/DNVR. That's a channel that we're on. A package, a provider that's got Altitude Sports, AT&T Sportsnet, so you're getting the Rockies, you're getting the Nuggets and Avs at home on your very own couch, maybe similar to these. You can actually watch a potential 3-time MVP back-to-back and Nikola Jokic. I mean, It's unprecedented. I don't know. I feel like Yahir is more of an NBA guy. Three MVPs in a row. You mean Jordan would obviously be the guy. You go, maybe.
I think it hasn't been done since the 80s. Like, it's been a while. Like, it usually doesn't happen because of voter fatigue, which is a real thing in the NBA world.
Voter fatigue.
So if you win too much, they're tired of you, so they want to change it.
That is so interesting. I'd love to talk to the Nuggets guys about that because I feel like Jokic is in the sweet spot right now because his team hasn't won diddly. He's won it, but his team hasn't. So that could actually, you hear, to your point, voter fatigue. I don't know that there might even be that fatigue for Jokic if the Nuggets, let's say, go out and have the best record next year. I'm hyped for Nuggets season. I'm hyped for Evoca Sports, Evoca TV, evoca.tv/DNVR, and use code Colorado10 for $10 off your first 3 months.
It's a good deal.
Wednesday night was, for better or worse,
not a good deal.
And I think, I want to say better, because I think, yes, we're all Rockies fans. We're all baseball fans, right? We like a good story. It was a vintage Nolan Arenado game. Would you agree to that?
I absolutely would. He was cooking.
He was fantastic. Had his first home run at Coors Field as a visiting player. Obviously, it was his first one since 2021, August 20th, 2020. He didn't hit one last year.
Yeah.
And it was his first home run with fans at Coors since September 13th, 2019. Think about that, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I hate talking about the 2020 season because I don't want to. I just want to forget that it ever happened, but it's got to be super different not playing for fans.
I mean, that's the other thing, too, that I think has been written about a little bit is the idea that, when fans got to see Nolan last year for the first time, they never got a chance to say goodbye. They saw him in the final home game at Coors in 2019.
We didn't know.
And that was it. No one knew that was his final game. No one knew that on September 13th, 2019, that was the last time they were going to see him do it in a Rockies uniform.
No one could have imagined that trade would go down at all and the way it did. So.
And if you did, you were just one of those crazy people that holds a sign saying the end is near. And then you were right, but no one wants to give you credit for that.
No.
You wear a sandwich placard around all day saying the end is near. No one's going to give you credit.
Your imagination is fascinating.
Look, I also, if we're giving out credit here, we got to give out credit to today's DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yes.
King of the game, Mr. B-Rod, Brendan Rodgers.
The B-Day boy is having a good B-Day week.
It is officially a week
B-Rod's
for him.
birthday is, he's pushed the celebration out to last the whole week.
Today he was 1 for 4, home run, a 3 RBI. It was a 3-run home run right there in the middle of that big 6-run 7th inning. But to your point, Tuesday also had a great game.
Yeah.
4 for 5. We talked about it a little bit about.
Everyone had a great game on Tuesday.
Everyone did. For birthday boys, the best for only 4-hit game in Rockies history.
Only the best.
So that was cool. Elias Montero gave him a big shout out in a conversation we had at the ballpark on Wednesday saying, B-Rod, Charlie has helped him out a little bit transitioning to the DH. Not that that's going to be his full-time spot, but he's learned from Charlie how to get ready, how to get prepared when you're not on the field and you're in every pitch, or at least 50% of the pitches, right? You're in the you're in on those pitches your team is making. And then you're paying attention a little bit to the opposing pitcher when you're in the dugout. But when you're just in the dugout because you're the DH, that's a lot harder. So Charlie's helped him out with that. B-Rod, his locker mate, has helped him out a bunch. And it's crazy to think that after April, he was batting .078.
Oof.
He had only, in the month of April, only 4 more hits than you hear myself and you, Suzie. That's it. 4 for 51. And now he's approaching 300. Oh, my God.
You gotta love it. The hyphen hype. It's real.
It's unbelievable. Also in the offense today, too, jumping around just a little bit.
We are. We're all over the place.
Iglesias and Grichuk, 2 hits today. Grichuk had that 5-hit game. That was his first game against the Cardinals, too.
Which is so crazy to think of.
4 years with Toronto, never against the Cardinals. So that was huge. I got to catch up with him. He's been a hard guy to come by. He's usually in the clubhouse. He's good. But you got to pick your spots. And I've got some business to talk with him about for a story next week that I'm very excited about. I'm already looking ahead.
Do I know about this?
I mean, you should. It's nothing that's a secret, but it's about looking ahead in the calendar just a little bit. Okay. So I'm excited to talk with him. Blackmon had that RBI single, as we mentioned there, to get the rally going. And McMahon follows up. We had the one back-to-back home run earlier in the season. I think that was Rodgers and Crone, right? Or Blackmon and Crone. I think it was Rodgers and Crone.
I think it was Blackmon and Crone. But don't quote me.
It was definitely Crone.
It was definitely
But
Crone.
this one wasn't definitely Crone. He got a well-deserved day off. And it was Rodgers and McMahon going back-to-back jacks. Love to see that. Sam Hilliard, 3 walks today. Also had himself a hit. Got to know from you, Suzie, is he more likely to take that game ball for his career-high 3 walks and put it on his treadmill or on a shelf next to the leash that he uses to walk his dog? What's better? What's a better fit?
I feel like the treadmill because it will motivate him to get a good stroll in.
That was my initial thought. And I said, well, we got to have some options. Where else? Maybe the dog leash. No, I think the treadmill is the spot. Defensively, we mentioned Diaz's great catch there in the first inning that saved a run. Montero made a nice leaping grab of a Yadier Molina liner at first base.
Yes.
That was great. So he's been playing wonderful. Did have his 9-game hit streak snap today. 8 since he's been called back up on August 2nd on trade deadline day. But he did have a hit in his previous game before he was sent down. So he's been really hot. Even had multi-hit games for 5 straight games, which was tying a rookie record.
That's so impressive, and I'm so happy that he is getting this regular playing time now so he can actually shine.
The thing that was interesting, and it was sometimes you tee people up with the quote that you want them to say or you're hoping they would say. And so you're like, I may have just shot myself in the foot a little bit. But I asked Buddy on Wednesday night after another good game from Montero, does he have a slower heartbeat? Yes, he has a slower heartbeat. It is early, because that was my preface. It's early, but he's like, it doesn't actually matter if it's early or not. If you have a slow heartbeat, you have a slow heartbeat. And he's just a calm guy, a little shy, not in a bad way, but just kind of a quiet guy. I talked to him a little bit today in the dugout, and he talked about liking the vibes there in San Diego last week. Just the beautiful weather. So he definitely enjoyed that, and he's enjoying his time in the big league. So love seeing that. Since being recalled from AAA Albuquerque on trade deadline day, he was batting .433 entering today. 4 doubles, a homer, 4 RBI. He's been just absolutely fantastic.
Incredible stuff.
I'm excited. I mean, everyone is. The fans got what they wanted with Montero. We were banging their drum for Bernard. Blake Street Banter, got to give them credit. They're also, they wrote the official letter. Like we piggybacked on that.
Yes.
We are not above piggybacking. If you have good content, good stuff, we will piggyback. We will quote tweet, whatever it is. So big shout out to those guys over there. Now we're going to get Winton Bernard. Wow. Have you tracked his flight yet?
No, I don't know what flight he's on.
Your job is to professionally stalk now at this point.
I know. Well, I was trying to figure out, I've been trying to figure out everyone's flights all day. I was getting all kinds of looks from Rockies PR. They're like, stop asking.
Well, one of the things you were looking up pertained to Elias Diaz, who, we saw it yesterday, swung at a pitch, stepped out, kind of paused a little bit. You knew something wasn't right. really tried to play it off. But again, if you're paying attention, Yachty actually kind of got between Diaz and home plate, and said a couple words to his pitcher just to buy him more time. Again, catchers look after catchers. Umpires looked after catchers. It was a very subtle thing just to buy him more time. But something was wrong. Once he finished that at bat, he just walked to the other end of the dugout. And that was, didn't look at Buddy as like, this is bad. Just, everyone knows. Like, they are all on the same page. That's one of the reasons why, as great as analytics can be, and as helpful as it can be to create a winner, there is a human element in some moments. And that was one where everyone in the ballpark knew he's hurt. And we had that strange occurrence where Hampson, we talked to him briefly about it on our way out.
We did.
He grabbed a catcher's mitt, and on his way out, he's like, oh, somebody's got to warm up the pitcher. You might want to grab a mask, Garrett. He said, oh, crap. Stevenson piped him in at 95. He was scared to death. Connor Joe, a little bit more of a veteran, former catcher himself. He came out, catcher's mask with the mitt, caught a few more. Brian Servin came in the game. We found out sprained left hand. Not sure if it's broken exactly, but this means he might be done for just a little bit, which we saw Dom Nunez late in the game. You were kind of tracking his flight, I think, to see.
That's the flight I was trying to figure out. Yeah.
He did end up getting there, I think, at game time. I don't know that he even was there for the game at all. So Connor Joe was no longer the emergency backup catcher. He just was the backup catcher. There was no third string.
There was no one else. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to just get in there and go and get himself ready. So that was a strange thing. And this is going to be a weird shout out because it's a jinx. I'm calling somebody out.
Interesting.
Our guy Carlos.
Okay.
So our guy Carlos, and I want to make sure I get him right. He's on Twitter at Esquina Diamante, La Esquina Diamante.
Yes.
Which is the diamond corners. I think that's what that translates to.
Yes.
Yeah, here's giving me the nod, like, nice job, gringo.
Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Carlos, great guy. Love seeing him around. And so I had first talked to him. He had read my article about Elias Diaz never getting hurt. So I laid the groundwork on the jinxing, saying he's never hurt, and he's a tank, right? He's banged up. He's always banged up and hurt some way, but not enough to go on the IL. And so he ran with it. He's like, yeah, the tank. We got to get that going. I'm like, all right, Carlos, see what you can get going. Talk the guys up. They're pumped. Got a graphic on his own. Just went, and he got someone to make a thing of Elias Diaz kind of poking his head out of the tank.
The curse of the graphics.
And yesterday, Wednesday, he stops by a T-shirt place. Because Carlos is a dude. He's a G. Stops, and he's like, I'll pay extra for same day. Makes the shirt. Hooks it up. The guys see it. They love it. They're talking about doing stuff for his charitable foundation. Later that game, Diaz gets hurt. We know who the jinx is.
Oh, no.
Carlos, I love you, buddy, but I kind of had the assist on the jinx, so I shouldn't maybe be talking this up too much.
You do have the assist. It's the curse of the graphics.
I'm somewhat culpable. That's not the first, right?
It's not the first time it's happened this season. We saw this with Connor Joe and his on-base streak.
Which I'm okay snapping those kind of things. I don't want to snap limbs.
We don't want to snap body parts. We're okay with snapping. I can sleep at night knowing we snapped a streak, but
not snapping.
I don't know how you guys sleep at night knowing what you've done to the tank.
And when it comes to sleeping well at night,
no.
You think the Rockies are going to sleep well? Oh, false alarm. You think they're going to sleep well taking 2 out of 3? We talked ad nauseum about the 16-5 win on Tuesday. That was a false finish in wrestling. Incidentally, heard an amazing story from one of the best writers in St. Louis that has to do with wrestling. If when you come down to the bar or you see me at one of the tailgates, ask me about it because it's just a bonkers story. Kevin Collins was there. Another wrestling guy. And I might even work out a trade. There's a Rockies giveaway coming up soon. And in St. Louis, when the Rockies go to St. Louis, there's a WWE bobblehead giveaway with David Eckstein. And we're going to have a trade. So do with that what you will.
I'm exhausted.
Look, when you have a really good giveaway, you got to show out, which is why you need to make sure you check out the American Raptors at Affinity Park in Glendale. They're hosting the 10th annual Rugby Town Sevens tournament August 19th through Sunday, the 21st. If you haven't checked the calendar, that's this weekend. You got to join them for the exciting and affordable action-packed weekend of fun for the whole family. They got a free arcade. You can grab some food, various food trucks, and of course, watch 20 rugby teams from all over the world compete to take home a prize of $10,000. Now, I don't know a lot about rugby, but I thought it involves only 2 teams at once. But 20 teams? This is why I need to go to Infinity Park to learn more. You know what I'm saying? I got to go to AmericanRaptors.com to learn more about it. Mm-hmm. I got to listen to Colton Strickler's DNVR Rugby podcast.
All good stuff.
Because 20 teams, I would imagine the most would be 4 teams. But I don't know.
There's so much to learn in the rugby world.
There is. For tickets and information, visit rugbytown7s.com. And don't forget our guy Colton Strickler, as I mentioned. He's got all the good stuff on the DNVR Rugby podcast. What else from this weekend? All of the craziness going on.
There was a lot happening this weekend. Also, I do want to mention, I texted someone in the Isotopes organization asking what flight Witten Bernard is on. And that person said, Suzie, I'm not the traveling secretary. People are becoming fed up with me.
Not with that attitude. You know what? You're not going to be the traveling secretary.
I guess
with
not.
That attitude.
Not with that attitude is right.
Now, I don't know if I want to just give this person a shout out for being at the ballpark today or just say that you got someone's phone number. And now that I've already said that you got someone's digits,
I need to clarify.
No, we shouldn't. We should. Well, you can, but I don't know if you're. Now it already sounds bad. I already made it.
You made it weird.
I did make it weird. So we'll just have to say you got someone's digits today.
But not like that. You're going to give me a bad rep.
We still shouldn't say, but not like that.
My reputation is very important to me.
Right. But you did get someone's digits.
I did, yes.
It's good.
I'm a networker.
I'll say this.
I'm out there networking.
I have their digits.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes. No, it was in a good way. It was actually definitely in a good way. Did you catch up with Alexa Dat?
I did. You know, you didn't.
I didn't.
I went over and said hi. But the funny thing is, so I went over, said hi. I was like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. I've been following her on Instagram forever. But she mentioned that she actually tuned into our show with Katie Woo the other day.
Let's go. We got the bump.
She popped in. She was watching.
The Dat bump.
I know. We are absolutely repping in St. Louis this week.
We are. For better or worse.
For better or worse.
Well, St. Louis was repping in Colorado. 3 crowds of 30,000 plus, 34,000 on Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. Tuesday night, folks. And then, even after the whole ceremony, 35 on Wednesday, 30,000 for the day game. Didn't necessarily feel like that at times just because how empty it was. Mm-hmm. But there were those moments where it did get very loud and amplified.
It did, for sure. But I get annoyed when people are like, oh, look at all these fans traveling. Before the Rockies existed, a lot of Colorado natives were St. Louis Cardinals fans.
Great point. Yeah, I mean that was the only radio station you could hear was St. Louis, so it makes sense. St. Louis fans are not annoying. Now,
you know what? They actually are not annoying. I will agree.
Totally. If you say all opposing fans are annoying, then fine. Then there's no conversation. To you, they're all. But if you actually take a team-by-team basis, it is annoying when the opposing fans show out, they root for their team, and they can maybe get too loud. But even in Wednesday night's victory, it didn't seem that bad. Maybe that was because the Rockies had won Tuesday night and kind of gave them just desserts, if you will. But it was respectful. They gave a good round of applause for Feltner when he came off the mound on Tuesday night after giving up 5 earned runs. But it was it was different. It was we respect baseball. Mm-hmm. And so it was okay, I'm kind of okay with that. Although when they said, take me out to the ball game, and if they don't win, it's a shame. I didn't know what. There's no mashup. When it's Dodgers and Rockies, it sounds like Rodgers. And you're like, wow, a lot of B-Rod fans. But it didn't sound like anything when you combine Cardinals and Rockies.
It's just a bunch of mush.
I would hope it would sound like Crockies, but it doesn't.
Ugh, if only. The Crockies are going strong, though. The Gibbets are in full force. Everyone's Crocs are popping in that clubhouse.
I'm pretty sure I saw someone rocking some off-whites with the Gibbets in the off-white. But I can't be. But also it could just be the off-white shoe. Not a big sneakerhead, huh?
I'm not. I was wondering. We saw Chris Bryant in his boot today. Oh. And I did want to be like, are you going to put some Gibbets in that?
Ooh.
You putting some Gibbets in that?
That's are we all done here? All right, thanks, Chris. That's a walk away question.
Yeah. Hey, we're in those Gibbets.
Tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
I do want to know what he thinks about his bobblehead. I don't think his bobblehead is good.
So we've seen it advanced. Oh man,
We've seen it.
That's how you know we're part of the big Denver media elite. We've seen Saturday's Chris Bryant bobblehead. I do think it looks a lot like him.
You're wrong.
Okay.
They got the nose wrong.
The paint job that was on the one bobblehead that was shown to me was like impeccable. The pinstripes look really good.
I wish they put that effort into getting the nose right.
It was.
You will see what I mean if you are at the game and you get the bobblehead.
There you go.
And then come at me.
All right. So does it hold up in pictures? If you just see a picture, can you get into that fight? Can you get into that conversation, or do you have to have it to see it in person to really have a strong opinion?
No, I mean I saw the pictures that you took, and it's just the nose is too straight. It needs to be turned up a little more.
All right. Well,
very
Saturday
disappointed.
Will be the big day. They
did him dirty.
Right now, if you're watching this, I'm not going to say you're a big baseball fan if you're watching this live. Mm-hmm. You're a big Rockies fan.
Yeah.
Because the Field of Dreams game is going on right now.
It's happening right now, yeah.
And our numbers just dropped in half. Everyone just flipped over. Like, what? But I'm curious with if the numbers overall, ratings-wise, are going to take a dip, because you get two teams under 500. Mm-hmm. Reds, Cubs, like, outside of the juice that Joey Votto brings and his juiciness.
Yo, he's got juice. You know what? I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but he just did a rewatch of Field of Dreams.
Loved it.
And was talking about how the end made him emotional, especially, with the fact that his own father passed a number of years ago. Like, he got choked up. Yeah, I'm like, thank you for sharing your feelings, Joey Votto. We love a man who can share his feelings.
I love a good thread like that was just nice and simple, talking about his emotions. Scott Oberg, did something like that. He got in the Twitter, it's 2022. Okay, I'm going to do Twitter. And he jumps on and had some really great advice for, I think it was just young athletes in general. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even like, hey, you want to be a pro? Take it from me. Really great advice. Had a little ask me anything kind of situation. So it's nice when players can use social media, because God, growing up, like, you just knew nothing about player. That was why getting an autograph and going to the game was so valuable. And now, maybe because I'm also just a little bit older, but I'm wondering how it is for younger people having just a moment. Mm-hmm. Like, how many kids now see video of someone in the outfield having a catch with a relief pitcher? Mm-hmm. Would you rather that or an autograph? I would think you'd want the moment.
I want the moment, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that gets lost a lot with autograph seeking, because you just like want that piece of them. Because I think maybe, I don't know, does this stem from the early 1900s, the 1950s and 60s, Elvis, Beatles, where you're like, this guy's never even coming through my town, so I need something from them to hold on to. And now you can see anyone, in your pocket, on your phone.
Yeah.
And so having that moment, I think we need to live in the moment a little bit more.
Well, people aren't living in the moment. I mean, even though you're having that catch with the player, someone's filming it, like someone's watching it through their phone.
Sure. That's
so who needs an autograph? Moment. Honestly, it's not even about the moment sometimes. It's just about, like, I got the photo op.
Sure. A little bit of FOMO. Also, pointing out, our guy Ryan Herrera, DNVR Rockies guest.
Yes.
He's in Dyersville. He's covering that game.
Good for him. That is awesome. That is awesome. I do have to say, though, I feel like Chicago is a little too represented in these Field of Dreams games.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's ridiculous.
It's fair. It is the closest. I think there's a scheduling thing. If you go back and look at the Little League Classic, which is coming up here very soon, I think you've had Pittsburgh and the Phillies participate in that. I'm not sure. They've done it at least 3 times, I want to say. Last year it was like Cleveland and the Angels, because I think Ohtani was there. Cleveland, is more near to Pennsylvania.
That's true. It's a logistics
than Colorado
thing.
But over time that will kind of evolve and change. And that's also what's interesting too about the ratings. And it is interesting to go and look at those things and understand the narrative of, hey, you know what? Actually, people are watching baseball. The numbers are really good, and it's not this dying sport that we might think that it is. But you look and say, all right, Cubs, big history there. Their fan bases should turn out both to Dyersville, Iowa, as well as
tuning
on
in.
television, right?
They always show up.
Reds, maybe not. But if there's a dip, you go, well, you know what? We want this marquee jewel event to do good numbers, and we want to put the best teams and the best fan bases out there, Reds let us down. Maybe Cubs even let us down because they're not that good. And if you're talking about these games internationally or whatever, mid-season or early in the second half, late in the second half, whatever it may be, can you rely on the Rockies to turn out? Do you want to put the Rockies in one of those crown jewel events? Right? That's the argument against it. I think why MLB might say, cool,
they might
Rockies,
be hesitant, yeah.
We want it. We want everyone to have a fair share. We'll have you go play a game down in Mexico or something like that, so you can get involved. And I think that makes a little bit more sense. But if you're talking about internationally going over to Europe, and we're hearing Dodgers, Yankees maybe in Paris.
But the Rockies have such a fan base in Paris.
Oui.
Rockies
Rockies France.
France, one of my favorite accounts.
One of our favorite accounts, absolutely. So many great stories. Look, the Rockies, they're keeping it interesting. They're keeping it entertaining. They are entertaining us.
Always something to talk about.
Speaking of entertaining, Suzie, let's entertain the fans.
Is it my turn?
It is. I'm going to tag you in.
Tag
like wrestling.
Me in. No.
Yeah.
Tag,
you're in.
Let's see those graphics. We're going to play Say What, where I am going to give Patrick some out-of-context quotes, and he is going to guess who said them. Patrick, are you ready?
Let's do it. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to see the graphics as well. Usually that allows me to cheat and figure out what's what.
No cheating today.
Okay.
All right. I'm trying to remember what my first one is now. Put it up, and I'll be able to see. I know. Wait, no, hold on. I got a list. Don't worry.
Did I tell you about how this might be a little
It's
wonky?
tricky. We're in a new studio.
But you know
what?
We have to be forgiving to ourselves, right?
We do.
We're living life the best we can, and you live and you learn.
All right.
There's no better way that we could have done this. This is great. I'm excited. Let's go.
Okay, quote number 1. We have a chance to win the division, and it'd be the first time I've ever been a part of a team that's won the division. So yeah, I want to win. Patrick, who said that?
Who hasn't been a part of a division winner?
Who has maybe said this like 30 times in the past month?
And who hasn't been a part of it? Got to be Nolan Arenado.
It is.
Right? Because Katie told us that, I think, on Monday's live show, which was like, oh, yeah, that's right. They were a wild card team last year. He said it in the dugout on Tuesday when we got a chance to talk with him and just seemed at ease and had a lot of interesting things to say. So, yeah, I think we know that who said what or who say that or who say why. We know Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, but he said it again. He said it in St. Louis. He said it again when we talked to him on Tuesday when he was back.
There he is.
He said it a couple of times. But, yes, Nolan said that.
He doubled down when he really needed to triple down because that's all he needed for the cycle on Wednesday. Lars Nootbaar had 2, didn't share with his buddy. Again, you can read that article on the DNVR.com.
They're buddies.
About how Nolan Arenado, took him under his wing, said, hey, come hang out with me in the offseason. So Lars Nootbaar did not share well.
Lars Nootbaar is Nolan's adopted son. That's how I like to see him.
I like that.
Yeah, it's adorable to me. All right, we got another one. You ready?
What say who?
Who said that? All right. Quote, I didn't know how far it was going to go, but it sounded amazing. Those are the sounds that baseball players look for. Patrick, who said that?
All right. From the graphic, I have a very good guess. But I don't know. It would have been someone, obviously, that hit himself a homer. I'm actually going to switch up my answer. I'm gonna forget the graphic because my initial thought was Randall Grichuk. But if you're talking about deep home runs, we haven't talked about this. I didn't put this in the notes. So great job highlighting the Ryan McMahon.
You are right about the context in that it is about Ryan McMahon, but he didn't say it. Ooh. Randall Grichuk said it.
Oh.
It was, and you were there.
I was there.
And you were there in person when we were all talking to him. But that is what Randall said about Ryan Mac's 495-foot home run that got that pitcher DFA'd the next day.
Yeah, poor TJ.
TJ
McFarland.
Yes. So you were there. You were right there.
I was. Yeah, that was was a shot, man. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
He got all of that one. That's McMahon at his best, and what you hope he can continue to do. He seems to have, I'm not going to say calm down, but he seems to be a little bit more at ease. Buddy talked with him. I don't know what he said exactly, but I can imagine it could be, dude, you already got your deal. They can't take that away from you. If you hit 18 home runs next year with 60 RBI, sure, you're going to be disappointed because you know you can do better than that. The team's going to be disappointed in you. You can do better than that, but guess what? You still are going to make that money. So go out there, have a little bit of fun, and he's been doing that since the conversation last week in San Diego. Love to see it.
It almost seemed like he was trying to top, his previous performances.
Yeah.
He was doing too much.
Too much.
Do less. No, he's been great. He's been absolutely great.
Do less to do more.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Is that forgetting Sarah Marshall?
No, I don't know. It could be just me.
Okay. All right.
Do less to do more. Patrick Lyons. Where's the graphic? We don't have it? Oh, okay, moving on with the game.
All right. We got another quote. Quote, I hate doing Philly games. As far as fundamentally and defensively, the Phillies have always been just not up to it. Patrick, who said that?
Whoa. So it made me think of an umpire, but the fact there's the fundamental and there's the defensive stuff, I'm going to go with my gut and say it was umpire Angel Hernandez.
No, Angel Hernandez would never say anything bad about anyone.
Okay, well,
but it's interesting
that
you said Hernandez because it's a different Hernandez.
I thought it was Chris Guccione. He also had a bad day at the plate. Who's the other Hernandez?
Keith Hernandez said this.
Keith, it does look like a silhouette.
On SNY was talking about how he has asked SNY to not put him on Phillies games because he just doesn't like them.
He doesn't want to go to Philly.
He doesn't want to talk about Philly. He doesn't want to see the Phillies play, which is very sad because they have been electric this year.
Look, I didn't want to say this publicly, but Keith Hernandez doesn't like Chicky and Pete's. Yeah. Unleash the hounds.
Patrick, is that real?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I know. See, that's how serious it was, where you were actually concerned.
No.
No. That cheese sauce is okay.
Patrick, get out. Leave.
The fries are a bomb, but the cheese sauce is good. It's really good. I'm just not a cheese sauce guy.
Please stop talking.
It is really good. I rescind that statement. I'm going to take it back.
Please stop talking because we have one more quote.
Please.
That I would love to share with you.
Okay.
It's a very wholesome quote. Are you ready?
I love wholesimity.
Quote, I've rubbed up quite a few balls in my life. Patrick, who said that?
Can I plead the fifth? My Lord. So the silhouette looks like Malcolm Gladwell. Good Lord. So again, that makes you think it's an umpire. We know that earlier in the season, pitchers were having a little bit of issue with some tackiness. We actually saw in today's game on Thursday, Jordan Hicks, he was using the rosin bag like on his arm, and the ump was like, "No, you can't do that. Like you can't mix those things together." Historically, you've been able to, but I'm gonna go off the silhouette. I'm not gonna say Malcolm Gladwell. I'm gonna say Michael Richards, a.k.a. Cosmo Kramer, based on that hairdo.
Yeah, no, obviously not. So Cameron Maben said this on air on the Yes Network. He's in the broadcast. This is his first season as a color commentator with the Yes Network. It was during the Yankees-Mariners game. Camera guy had a great shot of someone rubbing up the baseball. So this went viral on social media.
I vaguely remember seeing it now.
So, of course, Cameron said, "Oh, yeah, I've rubbed up." So he said that. And literally afterwards, almost 20 seconds of just silence. And it kind of sounded like they muted the mics as if maybe they had to. Maybe they were laughing.
They laid out on that. Here's the thing. He hasn't done that. He said that to say that. Baseball players don't rub up baseballs. Umpires do. Baseball players don't do that.
No, maybe in the offseason.
I'm trying to give him more credit.
Whether he said it just to say it or if it was just something that was worded in a way he didn't intend, it was hilarious.
He knew what he was doing. I'm giving him credit.
You're giving him credit. Okay.
He wasn't a Rocky, but he is tangentially Rocky's beloved or beloved by some Rockies people. He's the Asheville guy. So Asheville tourist, long low A affiliate for the Rockies. So big Asheville tourist guy, and Asheville player. So we love Cameron Maben, and we love Say What. That was fun.
Yeah, no, I think these were some good ones for sure.
Vibes are immaculate getting back in studio here.
I have to say, yeah, I've definitely missed this. We were both on the road last week, but it's nice to also just have a studio that we can be in again.
This is it. We're not leaving now. We're not giving it back.
Squatters have a remarkable amount of rights.
Yeah. And we're going to squat on the DNVR Sports 2.0 channel. And they're like, fine, you can have that one. We're going back to the main one, but we're going to do this thing. And
it's our burner.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do this thing again on Sunday. Post-game show, that big 3-game series against the Diamondbacks. But we're going to have a lot of Whit and Bernard conversation to talk about. Maybe Dom Nunez even.
I sure hope we do. Because, these are two guys that Dom Nunez, great guy. Whit and Bernard, great guy. You want to see them playing for the Rockies. You want to see them. You just want to see them shine. I love this for them. This
guy, we could have like a Jose Iglesias type moment on first base, getting, great applause from fans. I think there's enough of the hardcores out there. And again, if you're listening to this, you're definitely one of the diehards, right? That they're going to go out to the game, they're going to watch, they're going to support Winton, and when he gets that hit, they're going to get to their feet, and everyone's going to go, what? Okay, they'll maybe see the graphic up there real quick, first career hit, and they're going to, it's going to be a moment. Ooh, it's got to be.
Gotten some goosebumps just thinking about it. Okay.
And if it's not, anyone watching at home that knows and that follows at DNVR_Rockies or me at Patrick D. Lyons on Twitter, you know what Wynn Bernard means right now to this team. For sure. It's nice that the people of Twitter, the Rockies fans of Twitter, are getting everything they are asking for. Absolutely. You can get everything Susie's asking for on Twitter too. I'm at the Suzie Hunter on all platforms. We've got some momentum going into the weekend there. Enjoy the Diamondbacks. Enjoy the Chris Bryant bobblehead. Is there any momentum for a giveaway on Friday night? I don't think so. No. All right. The big giveaway weekend was a couple homestands ago. That's true. Yeah. They should give away late in games in the 9th inning when it's close, just like a Rockies branded paper bag, just for people to breathe into. Why not? I thought you were saying the Rockies giving away games is the giveaway. Oh. Also, we know what people would really do with those paper bags, you know what I mean? But look, you know what they truly say about momentum? It's only as good as your next show. So we'll talk to you in a couple days.